everything wrong with the WNBA in one less than 60-second video. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all of your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19, all 15,000 of you. Do me a quick favor. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, hype on mobile. Notification bell if you know what that is as well. So we got a short clip here. We have Sarah Spain, everything wrong with WNBA media, asking a loaded question of Fever GM Amber Cox, everything wrong with the WNBA itself. So we're going to listen to this. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. I'm very curious what you all think as well. And we'll get into why I think Amber Cox is an example of everything wrong with the WNBA and how and why they need to move beyond this to take that next level. They got that CBA. Now there are a whole lot of expectations that come with it. And if they don't meet it, things aren't going to continue to go in the right direction. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand. They act as if, well, they got this CBA. This is it. They're going to the big leagues. It keeps getting better. It keeps getting bigger. That is not how things work. I'm trying to think maybe one of the easiest ways, I guess, to talk about this for an example. You know what? I should have had it in front of me. But if you look back at, say, anyone, they don't talk about it much now in this day and age of tech companies and everything with the NASDAQ, but the Dow, right? The Dow Industrial Average used to be a big number in investing. You know, it's like the 30 biggest companies in the US. And if you look back, if you go back, you know, many, many years, they change a lot, right? There are companies that used to be huge and basically printed money and they don't exist anymore. I don't know. Kmart, how do you feel about Walmart entering? Or, you know, even more so, big department stores, right? And Walmart just completely destroyed their business model. Hey, remember early 2000s and tech companies and all these companies getting on the internet and stocks skyrocketing, but they never figured out how to make money. They were absolutely huge, and now people don't even remember them anymore. There's no guarantee that WNBA continues to go in the right direction. So I know I got off a little bit on a rant. My apologies. But let's dig in. We've got Sarah Spain. She's one of this is one of those, right? This is the slow shout out CJ. This is a Hatelin. Shout out me. She is a Caitlin Clark hater. Listen to how she frames this question to Amber Cox. They're talking about, as Ken mentioned here, social media, players in social media. We all know the WNBA is very messy in that regard. These players are scrolling through everything and they are very sensitive about it.
You know, you mentioned all the conversation around Caitlin. It's a great thing. I mean, teams are looking for that. But also it's sometimes a tough thing, especially if folks are projecting their own social and political beliefs onto Caitlin, especially if she's being quoted or often misquoted or quoted without nuance. What role, if any, do you think the team should play in managing or responding to any of that?
Wow. Wow. And of course, as you know, that only goes one direction. The WNBA has been a hardcore activist league, activism first, basketball second. If Caitlin Clark was, say, Natasha Cloud or Asia Wilson or Paige Beckers, this is a question that would not be asked. Did you hear how she framed it? How dare those people that we don't want to be part of this league project their own beliefs into Caitlin Clark, to distort the things that she says, so that they can see her as some champion of their own beliefs. Now, are there people like that out there? You know what? There probably are. But see, I don't play that game where we can go get trolls or a few people to say, hey, they hold that position, so we're just going to apply that to everyone. I will state, as I always have, athletes, musicians, actors, whatever it is, when your job is to sell to the general public. That is your market, that is your audience. Shut the hell up about anything that divisive. When don't get into politics. And nowadays culture is intertwined with that so much. Stay out of it. I do not want outspoken athletes that agree with what I agree with. I don't want that either. That's what I'm saying. Stay out. And that is what the fans, one of the things, obviously it's the basketball number one, but in terms of how she handles herself off the court, in this day and age, we've all seen what it's been like the last 10, 15, 20 years. They truly appreciate that Caitlin Clark is not divisive in that way, that Caitlin Clark understands her role, what she does, which, by the way, is also a good business decision. And she's appreciative of all her fans. Now, as we know, again, Caitlin Clark, it was a big deal in her rookie year, right? Like everyone and anyone kept saying, oh, Caitlin Clark has to trash her own fans. Caitlin Clark has to speak out on the isms and the ists and all this other BS. Why? Because they wanted to get Caitlin Clark away from Caitlin Clark's fans. They wanted to take her fans away because then she's not special. Then she's just another player like all the rest of them in the WNBA. They can incorporate her into the blob, incorporate her into the cult, and make her one of them. Y'all don't think it happens. And how is it that so many players get flipped? Candace Parker married with a kid. Now with a woman, Stephanie White married with a kid. No, wait, I'm sorry. Stephanie White doesn't have a kid, but she was married to a dude. And then the WNBA hit, as it has a tendency to do. Because again, activism first, basketball, I wouldn't even say basketball, second for them. And now Amber Cox, this is a problem a lot of people have. This is why you see the crap you see with the Indiana Fever, why they diminish and discredit Caitlin Clark. Amber Cox is hardcore, old school WNBA. Stephanie White, hardcore, old school WNBA. Do you really think that she's about to give an answer that you're going to be like, yeah, I like that. That makes sense. That's a good one.
I mean, look, I think she's incredibly smart. She has an incredible team around her. I think, when she feels strongly about something, she's going to say it. I don't think that is our responsibility for any player, quite frankly, to project anything onto them or make assumptions one way or the other. So
This is bizarre to me. Like Amber Cox, respectfully, and again, I'm not saying people should grasp onto an athlete for their political beliefs. Again, I don't think they should be talking about it. But it's kind of bizarre for Amber Cox to be telling her customers, the fans, that basically they have no right to connect with an athlete who shares their values. That's basically what she's saying. How dare you put your values onto an athlete based on things that you've seen or heard from them? That's what she's saying. And that is, I mean, if we're going to go into that, Amber, then we have to talk about what the WNBA has been putting out there. Maybe they shouldn't do that. So certain other fans don't project, the social club, the only fans that you've had for the past 3 decades.
we're just there to really support, do what we can whenever, she says, hey, I need XYZ or I need support here. We're happy to do that. But again, she's incredibly smart. She's going to say what's on her mind when she feels that it's time to do so. And we're behind her 100% when
Now that's interesting too, right? She's going to say what's on her mind when she feels it's the right time to do so. And we're behind her 100%. That's very interesting because to me, that sounds like Amber, at least Amber believes, Amber has projected onto Caitlin Clark what she feels Caitlin Clark would say, and she agrees with her. Because I promise you, if Caitlin Clark actually did come out and went hardcore the opposite of the WNBA in terms of values and things like that, Amber Cox and the Indiana Fever would not be 100% behind her in any way, shape, or form. And of course, this doesn't even get into the fact that Amber Cox, if you look at her resume, you look at her history, she has no business whatsoever doing the job she's doing for the Fever because she doesn't have the qualifications for it. She's not a sports person. She's worked in sports for a long time. in other big leagues, big teams, but she's always been outside of the player aspect of it, outside of the sports aspect. She's been in the marketing and so forth. So her getting involved in roster building and all that, and so now we've got stuff like this. I'll finish up with. Amber's choices are very odd at times. Like, I remember this photo, being in a photo with Cindy Brunson. Y'all remember Cindy Brunson before she got fired? Again, hardcore Caitlin Clark hater. Oh, and Sheryl Swoopes, hardcore Caitlin Clark hater. And this was, a little over a year ago. So it's not like this was happening before they started spouting off about Caitlin Clark. As this person said on it, she has history with cozying up to people who have been brutal to Caitlin. It is absolutely shocking she has this role. Read her background. She is not in the hemisphere of qualified. What the hell the Fever doing? Because the Fever wanted to make sure they went and got old guard, hardcore WNBA activists as they try to get a handle and some control over Caitlin Clark. I'm just saying, it's right in front of you. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out the video. As always, smash that like button, subscribe. Shout out to the 19. Uncensored and unafraid. I will talk to y'all later.